Vice Chair is the last of our board to be seated, and then we'll begin. Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. We'll go ahead and call today's Sports Authority Board of Directors meeting to order. We appreciate the Predators organization for hosting us today here at Bridgestone Arena. As you know, the appeals process for any action of this board can be found at the top of today's agenda. Our meeting packet includes meeting minutes from our April 29th meeting. If there are any questions or comments regarding the minutes, we would entertain those at this time. If not, is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
There's a motion and properly seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. The minutes are approved. At this time, we will hear from our Executive Director for her report.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
You have the agenda before you. As you can see, the Finance Committee has two recommendations that it will be bringing to the full board for action. Outside of the Finance Committee report, the bulk of today's meeting will be the presentation of the Arena Agreement by Metro Law Director John Cooper. Any questions about that agenda? Pretty short. Briefly, just a couple of other things I want to mention. A couple of you have asked me about the TSU signage agreement that we discussed back in November. And so we've been working with the Titans Council, Burke Hill, and also with TSU Council, and we have finally reached an agreement. Everybody is on the same page, and so we are ready to move forward with that. You'll remember that is for interior signage, 4 signs. The cost is $27,800 and will be split between Cumberland Stadium, Inc. and the Sports Authority. Football season's right around the corner, so we will be working to get the signs ordered and installed this summer. And then finally, Bob O'Brada, who I think most of you know, who has served on our board for the last 5 years, has unfortunately has to resign. And and it's just one of those situations where it just happens with life, and you've got to shift and change gears. And so he has submitted his resignation letter. The mayor's office is working on a nominee. He represents the 7th School Board District, and so we'll wait to hear back from the mayor's office. He, in a very, very kind letter, he asked me to relay his great respect for his colleagues, for you all, and just said he really has enjoyed serving with you all and just appreciated this board. And so I wanted to pass that on, and he will be missed, but I think that we'll continue to hear from him. Any other questions? That concludes my short report.
Thank you, Monica. At this time, I'm going to turn the gavel over to our Vice Chair, Kathy Bender, and she will handle this portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this point, we will have our Finance Committee report. John?
All right, thank you. The Finance Committee met before this meeting. We had 2 items for consideration. The first is the consideration of a resolution approving Bridgestone Arena's fiscal year 20 capital improvement fund projects. The items are in summary in Monica's report. They're in detail under tab 3 in the financial board section of the binder. The board the Finance Committee did recommend approval of this. Were there any questions anyone had? All of these items were presented at the last meeting in detail. I'll just make the statement. So these are all items that under the current agreement. If we approve the next agreement in June, it's going to go over later, then these would all be handled in that new agreement, but we still have to consider these under the old agreement, and everything was due for SIF
To the bank by May 31st, which is why we're moving forward.
So we still have to vote on these items.
Okay.
So the Finance Committee recommends approval of the Bridgestone Arena's fiscal year 20 capital improvement fund projects.
So is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all of those in favor of moving forward with this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Abstentions? The motion passes.
Thank you. The other item we had for the Finance Committee was a consideration of a resolution approving an agreement for public infrastructure design services related to the Nashville MLS Stadium between the Sports Authority and Kimmelhorn and Associates. The details of the agreement are behind tab 4 in the Finance Committee portion of the binder. The committee does move to approve these items. We need to state our abstentions at this point.
Yes, we do have.
Okay.
I'd like to be noted as abstaining.
And I believe Margaret.
I represent one of the subcontractors listed, and so as a result, I'm abstaining.
Okay, so.
John, I need to add my name to the growing list of abstentions on this.
Okay.
I have a business relationship with the firm.
So there's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so any other abstentions? All of those in favor of moving forward with this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, nay. Motion passes.
And that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you very much, John. Now I will turn this meeting back over to our chair.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, John. We appreciate your hard work and the work of the Finance Committee this morning. It was a lively and good discussion, and I know we will continue a lot of those conversations today. So thank you for your service, Finance Committee members. Next on our agenda, we move along to the Bridgestone Arena Agreement portion of the agenda. I believe we have Mr. Sean Henry who will start this off for us.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Madam Chairman, Board. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Also want to thank you all for the work you've done over the past few weeks, getting us ready for today's meeting, and more importantly, what you've done over the past 20 years to get us to where we are right now. You're going to hear from John Cooper in a little bit. He'll have a lot more details than I have, which is always good because I'm not a detailed guy. But I did want to just come up and kind of go back a little bit over the past 20, 22 years of where we sit right now. And you're hard-pressed to name another sports team or a city that is in the situation that we're in today. I mean, normally what happens in that year, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 of building age, you normally have the sports team look at the city and say, well, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? The building's in disrepair, things aren't maintained, we need a new building. And then you start arguing about who's going to do what, how we're going to do it, how we're going to generate the revenue, where is it going to be? And what's really exciting is that's never occurred with us. Going back to Mayor Bredeson's vision in 1993, 4 or 5, whatever it was, to create an entertainment destination, buy civic furniture, if you will. If we do the right thing, amazing things can happen for the city. And that's when the building was built. Obviously, then we came here, the Titans came here, and you see what's been created around both of our buildings. Fast forward, the deal was always talked about, evaluated, and ideally it could evolve. In most places, it doesn't. Most places, you have a contract, a lease, and you end up with a lot of bitter arguments. You end up with, again, a venue that is 20 years old and normally in disrepair. People are talking about relocations or whatever else on the horizon. In 2007, the deal looked like, what's going to happen? This team's going to leave. The tickets were on sale, I think, in Hamilton, Ontario. There was kind of a crisis going on, and an amazing thing happened. A mayor that wasn't even sworn in yet, or maybe newly sworn in, along with a bunch of local business guys, day one season ticket holders, all loved what the Predators did for the city, and then with our fans, and then of course with the Sports Authority and the support of our partners. So we need to fix this thing. We need to secure the team here. We need to take this building that's underperforming right now and figure a way to bring more concerts in, more shows in, and most importantly, give a pathway for this team to be successful. Because if they are, all the good things that have already happened in that short 10-year window of time can be so much better. And that's exactly what happened. The new deal was put into place, and almost immediately upon that deal going in, the benefits started rolling through. The building went from the 40th, 50th busiest building in the country to maybe the 25th busiest building in the country. The team started having new levels of success, and then we started measuring that economic impact. Between 2007 and 2012, when we did a new deal again, we measured the economic impact. It was over $400 million annually, impact on the community. The building was now one of the top 8, 9, 10 busiest buildings in the country, 15th busiest building in the world. The team was starting to do some special things because now you can look a little bit further down the road. The playoffs became a foregone conclusion to the world, never to us. We always get nervous still in March, what's going to happen. But the team year in and year out has made the playoffs. We're in the longest streaks in the NHL right now. The building was doing a little bit better. So we looked at 2012, worked very close with Mayor Dean's administration again and said, okay, how can we move this forward again? because the one big missing piece for this building still was a capital improvement stream. How can we do this without being the burden to the general fund or the capital fund of the city? Let's take the success of this building. Let's put that onus on the users of this building, our guests, our fans, and put a few dollars extra on the ticket to fund a capital improvement fund. What happened between 2012 and today is almost as amazing what happened between 2007 and 2012. Because all of a sudden, we are now one of the busiest buildings in the country, one of the busiest buildings in the world. Now the team doesn't just play the first round of the playoffs. Now we're year in and year out. People expect us to go to the Stanley Cup final. That's why it's always disappointing that we're not playing right now, because this meeting is always more fun when it happens during the playoffs. But it's amazing what can happen when you can look further down the road and you look what's happened in this building. We've invested $80 million in the building in the past 6 or 7 years, half of which was private, half came from the capital improvement fund. We're always trying to forward fund that with great arrogance or confidence that we'll generate the dollars to catch up to it. But we're a model of others to look at right now as a city, as an authority, and as a team, because we never looked at the contract and said, look at your responsibility. Come up with these dollars. We need $80 million to own the building. It was, how do we solve it together? It's always been nice that you guys have set the tone, spirit of cooperation, of figuring out what can we do next for a better outcome and a better result. And that's why we're sitting here today. And again, I can't emphasize it enough. Most teams aren't having this conversation. Our goal is when this deal is approved, ideally in a month, is 20 years from now, 25 years from now. People can look back on this and say, that's where my grandmother and grandfather met. That's the first place I saw a concert, a game, whatever it may be. It's an incredible thing. When you look at iconic buildings today, and I love every other arena, every other stadium that's out there, and it pains me to say this, being a good Yankee fan, what's the most iconic baseball stadium? It's Fenway Park, it's Wrigley Field. Football, Lambeau, Soldier Field. It's the ones that are 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. It really pains me to say this, because they answer the phone this way because they're so arrogant. But the world's most famous arena is Madison Square Garden. I can't believe they answer the phone that way, but they do. But they should. The building's over 50 years old, and it's one of the most modern buildings in the country. Why? Because they invest in it. They're not looking 30 years down the road. It's how do we create something really special to move forward, and that's what we've all done right now. And again, I just want to say thank you, because if somebody today said, look, Detroit, Milwaukee, Charlotte, fill in the blank city just got a brand new arena. It costs between $800 million and $1.2 billion, $1.3 billion, all these obligations from a public side standpoint. If somebody came to us today and said, here's $1 billion, build the greatest arena ever built, but it can't be a 501 Broadway, I think we'd all agree we'd say no to that. What's exciting about what we're doing is we're building upon what we are doing right now, the excitement that we have. We get all the credit in the world for having the best game experience in all sports, having the best relationship with our fans in all sports. And I love taking credit for that, don't get me wrong. But let's face it, when you walk in this building, before we do anything, you're pretty hyped up. You're pretty excited. There's an energy level that comes to us. We just get to capitalize on it. So we don't want to change that. We want to build upon it. And that's what I think we've done. The best part about what we're doing is the deal that you look at right now continues to build on the backs of the people who use the building, 75% of which come from outside of Davidson County. That's an incredible economic impact. People are taking their expendable dollars out of their home, out of their county, out of their state, and they're bringing it right down here for us to build on that. We will no longer be a line item in the general fund. We're going to take responsibility of all capital improvements. It shifts to us, whether we raise that money or not. It's our responsibility, no longer the city's. And that's a tremendous thing. What you'll hear from John, I hope anyway, is much better details than that. But the other is, when you look at the funding sources that go into what we're going to try to do, you have the SUP, seat use charge, SIF, Capital Improvement Fund, and then some of the sales tax that, because of the retention plan that the city cut to the state years and years ago, creates this great fund that we get to move forward with. But out of that, the first obligation that's covered are all the current obligations of the Sports Authority. The next are the other obligations that the Sports Authority has with us. And then what's remaining goes in to improve this building. So we continue to move forward, that economic impact grows and grows and grows. So we're pretty proud of the deal. I know not a lot of you have had it for a lot of time yet. A few have had it for maybe a week, a few for a few days. Over the next 30 days, look forward to meet with all of you, answer any questions you have, and move this forward. But it's so exciting to be standing here right now, because no one else is doing this in the country. No one's doing it in North America. So I just want to say thank you. And when you look back, I'm sure Monica's going to weigh in on this. The story shared with me yesterday of a former chairman who...
Got a call from Arnett Bodenhammer. Got a call from Arnett Bodenhammer, who I think some of you served with. And he had just heard about the deal, and he was very excited. And he said, he said, I think it's great. He said, I think this ship is turning the right direction. I'm really happy for the Sports Authority, for the city, for the Predators, and was just very complimentary. He said he would be here today, but he had a golf game.
After we get done with this, we could all tee off too. But again, I really just want to say thank you, and I'll come back up in a little while, answer any questions you may have. But again, I look forward to the next 30 days or so to bring this deal to life, and any concerns you all have, ideally, are put to rest or we address them. So
Thank
again,
you, Sean, for that lively intro.
yeah, no pictures, we didn't make you cry, no videos, so.
I'm sure you've got something up your sleeve.
That's where John comes in.
This time, we will hear from our Metro Law Director, John Cooper, who is probably at home in this building because he's a musician in his own right. And we look forward to hearing about the deal. Walk us through it.
Thank you, Chair. There is nothing more exciting than having a lawyer come talk to you about the provisions in a lease agreement. So, I will do my best.
You are an entertainer in your own right. You just don't let many people
If you give me
know.
my fiddle, I can go, but
There you go.
so I'll do my best here. So let me start off by saying you are not being asked to approve anything today. This is just for informational purposes. Within the next week, you are going to receive actual lease documents and the attachments that go with them. So you will have ample time to review those and ask questions. We're certainly available to answer any individual questions you may have over the next few weeks.
And I do want to clarify, I think the board did just receive the material in its latest form as of maybe even yesterday. So we haven't had an opportunity to digest documents yet, but look forward to you helping us start that process today.
Yes, yeah, this is kind of the start of the process. We didn't want to just spring everything on you and say, okay, vote. We wanted to make sure you had ample time to consider everything. So as has been mentioned, we have a current structure, obviously, with Powers and the Predators. Current structure that's in place. We have the latest 2012 versions of the agreements. We've got the operating and management agreement with Powers and the license and use agreement with the Predators. Those are scheduled to end in 2028. So if this new deal does not happen, the existing deal is scheduled to run through 2028. What we are proposing is a new lease structure, actually an actual lease this time instead of a operating and use agreement that will replace these prior agreements.
And John, let me interrupt just a moment. Where's that in our packet? Under which tab? Just to make sure everyone's home. Thank you. I pulled mine out.
Summary's starts under 5. The summary.
Tab 5 of the full board materials.
Tab 5. Okay, thank you.
And can I just say, John, can you tell us, are we the only entity that approves anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Approves this, except I guess for the seat user fee? Does that have to go to council?
No,
We
that
can
is
approve
a
too.
Sports Authority fee, Sports Authority charge.
So we can approve that charge for ticket surcharge?
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
because there's no Metro debt involved, the Sports Authority is not issuing any debt. Council has to approve debt issuance by the Sports Authority. But in this deal, there is zero debt obligation on the part of Metro or the authority. So that's it's just before this board.
All right. Thank you.
So the new structure would go through June 30th of 2049. It was important when we were looking at this early on that this be a long-term deal to ensure that the Predators are here in this building for the next 30 years. A little background information that you already know. Powers is an affiliate of the team. They are responsible for managing the arena, the day-to-day management. That's both hockey and non-hockey. And they currently receive a management fee, incentive fee, and a performance bonus if they earn it under the existing agreement. And we'll talk in a few minutes about what that's going to look like now. And then the Predators, obviously been in this building since 1998. They, as an entity, don't have any responsibility for operating the arena. That is Powers. And they do not receive any revenue for anything that is not hockey related. So if you'll remember when I was here before you on the Major League Soccer deal, it was very important to Mayor Briley that the taxpayer be protected for new sports deals. And so a lot of emphasis was, when we negotiated the soccer deal, was ensuring that users of the facility are paying the debt service on the facility. This new deal for the Predators takes, as my kinfolk would say, takes that concept to a whole nother level. All of the risk is being shifted to the team, which is unlike any other deal that we have in the city. So the first thing that is shifted or that goes away is the Metro General Fund subsidy. So that is the amount that is in the budget every year that the council approves that is an appropriation to cover costs of the arena. In fiscal year 2019, the current fiscal year, that amount was $3.2 million. So this deal will shift all of the operating costs and all of the long-term capital obligations to Powers Management for the next 30 years. That's everything. Everything that will be needed for this building, for the operation or the continued improvement, will be the responsibility of Powers. The fund, yes ma'am.
The process, though, for, under the new deal for capital obligations, that would still come before this body to discuss the needs and the priority.
Correct. The board would have to approve any improvement to the facility. So the board retains control over what happens, but the responsibility, the financial responsibility will not be with the board.
No financial risk here.
Correct. So the funding for this new arrangement will come from the existing revenue streams, which are going to be altered slightly. I'll get to that in just a minute. And obviously, the Predators are retained as the primary tenant in the building for the next 30 years.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
So back to the chair's question about, so the Predators will bring to us any capital improvements they're proposing. What if we have something we want done? Let's say the roof caves in and they don't want to fix that. I'm just making up something here. Could we then go, well, you need to do this? And would they have to do that?
Under the agreement, they're responsible for maintaining the arena up to NHL standards and comparable facilities.
Okay.
So if something, yes, I mean, they would be responsible. Metro will maintain insurance on the building like we do now. So if there's a casualty where, a tornado rips the roof off or something, that would be separate. But as far as the just capital maintenance needs of the facility, they would bring the project to you, which I'll cover in just a minute, and then they would be responsible for undertaking the project.
And I have a question too on that. We always talk about other venues keeping the facility as good a standard as comparable facilities. What are those? Who are we being measured against?
There is a definition in the lease of comparable facility, and I don't remember off the top of my head what that is. If you give me a minute, I can look it up, or I can
Thank you.
get
We'll
it.
come back to it.
Margaret, might give it.
Buildings built around the same time as these buildings.
So it's the same, essentially the same definition as currently?
We didn't list, the specific buildings aren't listed like they were in the old, because some of those buildings don't exist anymore. To Sean's point, at the 20 or 30 year mark, a lot of those get leveled and rebuilt. So we didn't list buildings, we listed time.
One of the key components there as well, right now that responsibility shifts to us. Today, the responsibility to keep this building state-of-the-art for comparable venues to the sports environment. So in theory, we can come forward with a list of projects we come to all the time and say, you need to do this. Now the burden reverses. Obviously, we do it on our own, As you point out, if there are things that you see that we should be doing, bring it forward and move that clause.
And how does that, how is the venue solutions study, that's still kind of our guide of
Yes.
moving forward?
Yes, and I'll
Thank
cover
you.
that in just a second.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think it's important if we have
Yeah.
questions to.
Oh, please.
And our obligation to maintain the insurance fund, does the payment for that premium come out of the new arena account?
No, that currently comes out of just Metro's general fund. We have one policy for all of Metro.
okay.
that-
So it would just be-
We're self-insured up to a
Okay.
very high level, and, you know, like the flood of 2010 obviously hit our insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to walk through the new agreements and at the same time kind of do a comparison of the existing agreement so you can see what the changes are and what the impact is. So the first, for capital improvements, as we talked about, the responsibility for maintaining the long-term upkeep of this building right now rests with the Sports Authority. It's the Sports Authority's obligation to ensure that we're keeping this building up to the appropriate standards. The study that you just referenced from 2017, venue, what'd you say it was?
Venue solutions?
Venue Solutions. So that study identified approximately $183 million in projects that were going to be needed. So right now, that would be the Sports Authority's responsibility. So under the new arrangement, Powers will borrow money from a bank or consortium of banks, however they choose to do it, to make improvements to the facility. So they take on the risk, they take on the debt. Metro is not a co-signer of the loan. There's no non-tax revenue pledge like you've seen in the past for Metro. It is all on Powers.
Let me ask a question there. So there's the building as collateral is nowhere in this picture. It's
Correct.
solely based on the revenues they're getting
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
new arena fund or wherever else they want to get it.
That's
correct?
right.
Okay.
So they will use the funds that what is referred to here as the Arena Improvements Credit Facility. That's basically the loan that they will get from somewhere. And that will pay off, the very first thing that does is pay off the existing Sports Authority obligation on the existing loan for this facility. It's part of the capital improvement line of credit that was approved back in 2012. Is that right? Yeah. So that gets paid off. So that's the first Metro or Sports Authority obligation that goes away. That's a condition precedent to moving forward as that gets paid in full. And that's approximately $4 million. The Sports Authority, as I've said over and over, will have no financial responsibility for capital or operating expenses going forward. And the Sports Authority will approve all capital projects annually. If you remember in the MLS lease, we built in what was called a capital asset management plan to kind of, we've learned over the course of the years how to do things better, and having this plan in place where you're annually reviewing the arena and the needs, we think was a good part of the MLS agreement, and that has been incorporated into this lease agreement. So again, we're talking about obligations or responsibility, risk. On the left-hand side, this shows what the existing obligation of the Sports Authority is, which is covered by the various revenue streams. So that's $10.4 million in the current year. And under the new agreement, there are no obligations from the Sports Authority to cover anything. Currently, the Sports Authority is responsible for all existing and future debt service. That includes the $10 million credit facility with the $4 million balance we just talked about, and the general fund subsidy. The agreement requires Metro to, I guess, make up the difference. And so there's an appropriation every year for the arena operation. Under the new agreement, all of the $183 million future obligations for improvements, that goes away. It shifted to Powers. And then all of the existing funds that are currently in place, which is the seat use charge, the capital improvement, is it fee or fund? SIF?
Fun.
Okay, so the SUC and the SIF, those are the existing revenues which will continue, as well as the sales tax redirect.
Can you explain the sales tax, what the benefits are now, and what will they be under this lease, and who will get the proceeds?
They're essentially the same. So the sales tax, and I don't know if Bob's in here, he can correct me, but the sales taxes come in, those are remitted to the state. The state sends back to Metro the portion of the redirect that the arena is entitled to, and then that is used to pay the various obligations. So all that will still happen in the same way, and it's the same revenue stream coming from the state through the redirect.
Your summary said, starting in fiscal year 2021, Metro and Powers will split the hockey sales tax revenue. What did you mean by that?
So Margaret, you have, there is a spreadsheet that we're going to pass around, and this sounds weird, take it back up after the meeting, only because it is not final. And you will get the final agreement with the final spreadsheet in about a week. But the numbers are still being double checked. So, but just to kind of go through what we're talking about. So the reason for the split is right now all of the obligations are Metro's. So the money comes in and Metro is responsible for paying the debt service. Under the new agreement, since they're responsible for all of the debt service, half of the hockey sales tax goes to them. But we retain half for other general obligation bonds that have previously been issued. So that is we're not giving them, I'm sure they would like to have all of it, but we're retaining half, which will, as Bob said earlier, will cover our obligations.
What does this, again, we're just, of course, seeing these numbers for the first time, and I know we're here today so we can understand what's going on. This has all the money that gets deposited into the account, and then it shows all the withdrawals.
Yes.
And then it shows at the end the capital improvements portion of the collections.
So
take me what that last title means.
Okay, and I'll go through the waterfall in just a minute, but that is, okay. After all the other obligations are paid, that's what is left for paying debt service on new improvements.
On new improvements,
yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll go ahead with your proposal. I'm sure you'll come back to this.
So the change in the revenue stream that the board will be approving through the approval of the agreement is an increase in the SIF and the SUC. I do that all the time. So right now, when they were put in place, they were set at the lesser of 5% of the ticket price or $2. Well, obviously, ticket prices have increased significantly for everything since that was put into place. And so right now it's $2, the lesser of 5%, or $2 for hockey tickets, or $1.75 for other events at the arena. and the SIF is the lesser of 5% of the ticket price, or $2. We're taking that $2 cap and raising it to $3. So both the SUC and the SIF will increase to the lesser of 5% of the ticket price, or $3. And that will be on all tickets, whether hockey games or other events at the arena.
Let me ask a stupid question. Say I know this building does a great job of selling tickets, but say something horrible happens and we don't sell any tickets for a month. Who's assuming the risk of that?
The powers management.
So under the new agreement, they are assuming all that
If
risk.
they can't generate the business and get the revenue, then the bank looks to them, not to Metro. So, I mean, they're obviously incentivized to have this building used as much as possible.
And what is you referenced the cost of the ticket percentage. What is that range under the new agreement? Say, I don't know what an average ticket to an event is. I can guess, but I mean, what would that do to the user? How much increase will that be typically?
Well, the add-on, the cap right now is $2. We're so far below that 5%. So the cap is almost always in place, and we've looked at everything on average.
It's not $3 across the board for any ticket, though, right?
It's still, most of it is 5%, so lesser of 5% for $3 now. But the way it will be designed is it will allow us to continue that with inflation. And I think in 2021, we can grow that by 5% a year. So as the ticket price continue to grow.
Okay.
So we're not in the same situation
Gotcha.
20 years from now where we're capping at X. It will be a little higher.
Right, so there is a built-in escalator so that we're not having to come back in the future to address inflation.
But the capital capital improvement fee in 2019, according to this chart, was $2,820,000. Seat use charge was $2,934,000, but the sales tax was $17,396,000. So the sales tax is the primary funder, is it not?
That's correct. Yeah, and will remain that way.
So, I have a question. The 5%, is that in place now?
Yes.
Okay, and so are we saying that we anticipate that inflation will be at 5% annually increase?
Oh, I'm sorry. The 5% escalator is not in currently.
Okay, but going forward, we're saying.
It would be.
So 5% annually?
That it would be an annual increase. They would not have to raise it that much. They might decide we're not going to raise it at all, but they would have the authority to raise it not more than 5% of that amount. And that's not 5% of the ticket, that's 5% over the $3 cap.
Okay.
Do the Predators have to use the $6 per ticket, which would be what it would be, towards capital improvements, or they get to use it as they want?
It is.
It's additive to the ticket and it goes into this revenue.
No, the question is, I understand now what it's $3 and $3 a ticket, so it's $6 a ticket, essentially. I don't know if we will have a designation or not, but the $6 a ticket, do they have to use it for capital improvements?
It has to be used for capital improvements. That's the fee itself. That's the purpose of the fee. So it couldn't, just be diverted for some other purpose. It has to be used for the facility.
For the capital improvements in the facility?
Yes.
Okay.
And is that the first priority reference here?
For the capital improvement fee,
The first priority or the?
yeah. I'm going backwards, aren't I? I did it upside down. Okay. If you look at this is the new waterfall. So when money comes in, this is how, from all those sources, this is how it will be dispersed. So the first obligation is the Sports Authority obligations, which includes debt service on Ford Ice Center, because those were revenue bonds issued by the authority. the obligations under your agreement with the SEC for the basketball tournament, and operational expenses of the Sports Authority. I would note that the amount that goes to the Sports Authority for operating expenses will be going up by $100,000 per year with this deal, plus a 5% escalator on top of that.
So how much is that right now, in the priority number one? How much would come out of the fund?
I'm probably going to have to.
It's that area in blue, right? In the blue line?
It's the very first blue. So in 2020, you would see it's, roughly $2 million.
Show me, hold on.
So if you look at the thick blue line,
Oh, I see it.
and then over under 2020, which would be the first
Thank
year,
you.
it's those three numbers added together. So then the second priority would be the arena maintenance fee, which the Powers has already paid an arena maintenance fee. That's paying them to operate the arena. That amount gets paid to them second. The third priority is the hockey sales tax split, for lack of a better word, which is where Metro will continue to have its obligations covered by that 50%, and then the other 50% can go for the building.
I got a question. On the sales tax, you say hockey sales tax. There is hockey state sales tax and hockey local sales tax. Is that both of them?
Yeah, you've got the state amount.
What about the non-hockey sales tax? How is that allocated and to whom?
That's under the gross sales tax up at the top. So right now, you've got local sales tax redirect and state sales tax redirect. Of the state tax is 7%, and that's on whatever you buy anywhere in the state. The local portion is 2.25% for a combined 9.25%. The state keeps a portion of that for the state general fund and other administrative things, and then a portion goes to schools. And then of the 2.25 local sales tax, 2/3 goes to schools. So the amounts you see here are after those have already been taken out. These are our revenues that are available for the arena.
Okay, what about, it says hockey sales tax. What about non-hockey events? And how's that sales tax allocated? Same way? Okay.
And then after those first three, the last goes into a capital reserve account, which can be used or will be used for debt service and maintenance expenses. So that's what will be used to cover debt and make sure that the arena is maintained.
So can you tell me again what the arena maintenance fee, 10 million?
Yes, that is what compensates the Powers management for operating the arena. So basically, we have hired them to operate the arena on our behalf.
So that's their operations
Yes,
fee,
sir.
essentially.
Right.
But it also covers the operational expenses of the arena. So if you think about the current allocation.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no, I think, but that goes,
Yeah.
so that's an operations,
That's an operating expense for the arena, yes.
and does that go up 5%
Well,
every year?
yes, it has the same built-in escalator. Yeah,
CPI, okay.
Yeah, just about CPI.
And for the record, we have Michelle Kennedy chiming in from time to time, CFO of the Predators.
She knows numbers, I do not.
We appreciate your input.
Let's see. So under the obligations, some of which we've already talked about, right now, they currently maintain general liability insurance and liquor liability and employee liability. All that continues. So all of the indemnification and the insurance requirements that Powers currently has, that carries forward. The arena, as we said, must be maintained to the standards of comparable facilities and consistent with NHL standards. We talked about the annual capital asset management plan. They currently provide a number of civic impact events and programs. The agreement requires them to continue that at the same or greater level, and there will still be an annual reporting requirement back to the Sports Authority Board of what that civic impact was for the previous year.
So we do have the same number of days allocated for that?
That's actually a new thing. Under the existing agreement, there were no, the authority was not entitled to a set number of days for authority events. Under the new agreement, there will be 10 per year that the authority can use for authority events. These don't get used often, a lot of times in partnership with Metro. Not a lot of times, but when it has been used, it's been in partnership with Metro, like at the First Tennessee Park when we had the Eclipse viewing party, things like that.
The first day of school.
Yes.
That was here once, yeah, or twice.
John, how does it work, for instance, if you want a women's Final Four or a Nashville Sports Council event? How much notice needs to be given? Because obviously there are a lot of events already scheduled. We wanted to keep a packed house, so like,
I don't remember
how does it
exactly
work?
what the agreement says. It's based around scheduling. I mean, obviously, they have the scheduling priority, so it would be working with them to find a time where nothing is currently scheduled. I don't remember if there's a set number of days notice. I don't think there is, but I can check the agreement.
Well, it's based on availability, like the SEC or Women's Final Four you mentioned. That's not a civic event. That's just an event.
So how does that work as far as the lease? Do we still just ask for time to do that and work with the city as to availability? I mean, that's not really addressed in the lease.
You're just asking for events?
Just asking for events.
Well, no booking of any events addressed in this lease, but specifically with SEC, for example, we'll work with the Sports Council to bring that event about.
Let me put it this way. There's no change in what's been doing, the way it works now from what we see in the future. Okay.
Used by the city so we can be the busiest thing in America.
Okay.
Answer the phone, world's most
And we, as you know, the Predators are the primary tenant of the building, but there are other leases that the Sports Authority has. Currently, that is with the Register of Deeds, the Convention Visitors Corporation, SiriusXM, and the Sports Hall of Fame. Under the proposed structure, contingent upon assignment of those leases, the Predators will, those leases get assigned to the Predators, and then they have the obligation for the maintenance and repair and everything that's associated with the space that those entities are using.
And does Powers Management also get to determine, for instance, if they don't want the Register of Deeds to be there anymore at the termination of the lease, they get to determine the new tenant?
So the only consent that is required is from Metro, and it's for the Register of Deeds. And Metro is currently looking at other space for the Register of Deeds. I don't remember how long that agreement goes through. But yeah, they have been looking at the possibilities of finding a more suitable location for that office.
So under the new agreement, the Sports Authority would have no input on utilizing the space?
That's correct. It would, as long as the use is consistent with the statutory purposes of the Sports Authority and doesn't violate any of the prohibited uses, which we'll get to, or violate applicable law, then who else uses the space would be Power's responsibility.
And in the meantime, the leases that are currently under. in
Right,
effect
those all
just
have provisions
would be
allowing
assigned.
them to be assigned, and so that's how that would work. Taxes, currently Powers is responsible for paying the taxes on their personal property and for business taxes. That would continue. For the existing arena, if there was ever a leasehold assessment for the arena, for which there wasn't imputed rent to offset that assessment, this is getting in the weeds and into property tax law. But if there was such an assessment, then whatever the Powers paid to Metro, Metro would offset that from that amount that was going to Metro for Metro obligations. And then for future developments, if Powers decides that they want to do something else or bring a new use or something, that still has to get approved by the Sports Authority, and any tax liability that is a result of that would be on Powers. So there would be no offset for any future taxes associated with future uses of the property. The prohibited uses is basically the same list that we have in the MLS lease. It's anything that results in a nuisance or violates law, obscenity, sexually oriented businesses, sale of drug paraphernalia, industrial warehouse uses, and a massage parlor. Although when we put massage parlor in the MLS lease, we had to do a carve out because they actually do player massages there at the facility. So we have that same carve out here. We want to make sure that players can get the massages after games that they need.
I'm glad you're thinking this through.
The license and use agreement that exists today will be replaced by a tenancy agreement with the team. So when the current deal was put in place, if you remember, especially in 2007, there was a great risk of the team relocating. And Metro wanted to make sure that our obligations would be covered if the team left, because at that time, as they are now, it was Metro's obligations. So we had some early termination penalties built in, and liquidated damages, and required owner guarantees. And that was because the risk was on Metro. So if they left, then Metro would be left holding the bag and paying the debt. All that is not needed anymore because all of the risk is going to Powers. So since they're fully responsible for all obligations, even if the lease or the tenancy agreement terminated, those obligations significantly exceed what the current penalties are in the existing agreements.
So let me ask a question about that, because I see that they can terminate if there is a material change in the sales tax.
Right, let's say that the state came in and said, we don't think sports facilities in the state should have a sales tax redirect anymore. Well, because that is a significant portion of what will fund the operation and improvements of the arena, it makes sense that they would have an out at that point.
Right, and right or wrong, but yes, I understand why they would want that. And then, so there is a risk for the city if that happens.
There is risk.
And explain what that would be.
The risk would be that we have to find another operator and another team or other users for the building. The debt service for whatever improvements have been done, that does not get shifted to Metro. That remains with Power. So even if everything goes south, then they're responsible for paying the debt. So Metro's, if they left, Metro would need to find another operator and other users of the facility.
I haven't looked at the language, obviously, but say that there is a significant reduction in sales tax that has nothing to do with the fact that the state legislature redirected the sales tax away from the use for the new account. Are they able to use some other reason that the sales tax is reduced?
No,
or is it simply the redirect?
It's simply the redirect, and it would be any state action or inaction that they take.
So the material change is limited to the redirect of sales tax. Okay. Thanks.
The current agreements require the Sports Authority, obviously, to make sure that the operator, which is Powers, provides adequate staffing for existing games, and also required certain equipment. That includes 2 Zambonis, dasher boards, glass penalty boxes, player boxes, scoreboards, and spectator safety net, goals, and standards. I don't know what a lot of that means, but you probably do. What I do know is that we will not be responsible for providing any of that equipment going forward. That would be on the team. And then if you look at the team's rights to revenues, that stays the same. So, I mean, they're currently entitled to receive revenues that they generate from hockey games and other team events. The agreements currently require that the operator, Powers, and the team be under common and identical ownership. That stays the same. So you wouldn't have a team and an operator that are at odds with each other. And then obviously the team must remain here in Nashville and must use the word Nashville in their team name. And that takes me to the end of the lease walkthrough. Again, you will get the actual documents in about a week. We're very close to having those finalized, but as you know, there's lots of I's to dot and T's to cross. And so that's what we're currently.
So under ownership requirements in the past, we've had to take some action when there were changes in ownership percentages. So we will not be involved in that process at all anymore. It says it stays the same. So
That was about guarantees, that was on the guarantees, the guarantees won't be in place, there won't be that.
okay, good.
John, how long have y'all been working on the lease?
A few months. I don't remember exactly the actual document. You know, early on it was mostly conceptual, and then we got down to actual words on paper.
I just want to make sure I understand a couple of things. One, the money that Metro will receive from the new account is the money that's in the blue on this, what exhibit you gave us, and the rest goes to the Powers Management and their affiliates and other organizations. Is that right?
Well, the rest goes to Powers for operation and then for the capital improvements fund.
And these required Metro allocations, you see that?
Those come off the top.
And those are in addition to the blue band of withdrawals?
Oh, so you're talking about the non-Sports Authority related obligations.
Right.
So that's the money that is paying for general obligation bonds that were previously issued. And Metro will still get that.
Okay. So,
The band is the sum of those.
what did you say?
The blue band is the sum of those items. That second blue band.
At the very bottom, if you look in red.
Oh, thanks. Okay, thanks. Okay. So the blue bands on this document are the monies that, I understand there's a tier here, are the monies that are being received
Blue to Metro,
to Metro from all of these
gold to Powers,
collections?
gray for the benefit of the facility.
Okay. All right. The second question I wanted to make sure I understand is I want to make sure I understand what are the Sports Authority's obligations under the new lease, so that when we get it, we can, if you could tell us where that is, that would be helpful in the document. And listening to the presentation, I saw two board functions. One is to approve capital improvements so that we can see what our obligation is there. And the second is to approve any new use of the property.
Well, I think they would get to decide if they want to lease out a portion, if they want to renew the lease with the Sports Hall of Fame, they would get to make that decision. If they wanted to bring a new use that required some kind of capital improvement, that would be.
Right, okay.
So those are really.
So they really are tied into the capital
Yes.
improvements. Okay, helpful. And so I understood the lease part, but I understand that better. So what other obligations under this lease would we have, in addition to enforcement of it, of course, but what's our role in this lease?
Well, you are still the owner of the facility.
So we have to make sure insurance is paid.
You have general oversight, you have the right to inspect the facility, you have the right to have meetings here like this. You have the right to those 10 use days per year. And then really every other obligation is on the team
Okay, thank you.
or Powers.
John, when you provide this document again, I liked your key that you referenced, what the blue, gray, and the gold, whose obligations are what, if you would include that, because I will probably
Yes, we
forget
can do
when I
that.
see this again. And then I know you made reference to in about a week we get the documents. If we are voting on this at our next meeting, I would really, I don't know if we even need to make it in the form of a motion or just some agreement that Metro Legal will send us, if we could even say by next Thursday, the 23rd.
You will have documents by next Thursday. They will likely be, as all contracts are, in the form of, so that if there are non-substantive edits, then we can do that, but yes.
I'm sure it's going to be a lot to digest, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I
Now,
know
I
this
can
board is
say
a
that
volunteer board,
that
so.
the new agreements are shorter than the old agreements. So, it's less to pour through.
I have one last question. You were saying that on this sheet, the blue, the orange or yellow is what goes to Powers, but there's no yellow here relating to the sales tax. Is
Well,
part of that?
so the sales tax and all the other revenue sources get dumped into the bucket, and then the blue and the yellow are what get pulled out of the bucket.
Right, but doesn't half of the sales tax get allocated for Metro and half for Powers?
That is part of the let's see, where is it? The third priority required Metro allocations. So the total of that number at the bottom, that's what the half
Okay.
half hockey sales tax is.
Okay. Well, then, that helps me because I'm looking at the gross sales tax. It's up in your top line is $17,396,000, and the state's hockey sales tax is much smaller. It's just $3,165,000.
Yeah, so it would be
Okay.
the combination of the state and local hockey sales tax.
Okay.
John, I have one quick question about the owner guarantees. And I'm referencing your chart that kind of flows through, and even in your presentation as well, you mentioned this. the current lease has maximum of $15 million collectively, but then the proposed, it says it's eliminated as to the Sports Authority, but Powers will be required to stand behind the arena improvements credit facility. Powers' obligations under credit facility will significantly exceed the combination of current lease obligations at early termination, et cetera. Explain that to me. I mean, does that mean it's eliminated to the Sports Authority and therefore it shifts to Metro, or how
No,
does
it
this
shifts
work? To the credit.
So like right now with this owner guarantee, that
Mm-hmm.
15 million, that's to ensure that Metro's obligations are covered.
Right.
Well, Metro will have no obligations to cover anymore.
Right.
It's just Power. So they're responsible for guaranteeing to the bank that the bank will be paid.
Let me ask you this. Is Powers a limited liability company? What happens if Powers breaches? What is Metro's remedy, and who are they against? Just against Powers as an LLC? Is there any guarantee?
There are cross-default provisions in the agreements. So yeah, I mean, Metro would be protected in that event.
Do we have a number? Do we have a number as to what that total would be, what they would be guaranteed for?
Well, no, it depends on how much debt they take out.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't-
So it's just guaranteed to
It's just guaranteed that.
to the credit facility?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically, the bank will not look to Metro to cover anything.
What recourse does Metro have if Powers decides they want to leave and just leave?
Well, they would be in breach, and there are I mean, any
Just the
remedy
resources
available at
Powers,
all.
yeah.
So that's similar to, it's similar to the soccer agreement with the exception that, Ingram put a number on that. And so that's kind of that's what I was looking for here. So,
Well, but with the MLS agreement, Metro is the backstop for that debt. So that's why there was a number on it.
that's right, okay. That makes sense.
Thank you, John. Are there any other questions for Mr. Cooper?
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that concludes our section of the agenda regarding the arena agreement proposal. And that moves us along to the facility questions section.
You need to collect these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can everyone pass their documents back that I handed out? I appreciate it.
Does any board members have any questions regarding any of our other facilities at this time? Seeing none. I believe that brings us down to the Nashville Predators report, and I think we have a familiar face in the audience, in addition to Mr. Henry.
Yeah, well, shockingly, we're not going to go into the report deeply unless you have any questions about what Kyle submitted last week. It was a great month, I'm sure. I didn't read it. I was so depressed over how we ended. I wish we were still playing hockey, but we're sitting in a great position, as he said. We love where we are, but most importantly, our focus today was on this presentation by John. I just want to say thank you, John, for getting it out there. And just to reinforce, we really are grateful as where we're sitting today as a relationship standpoint. There are very few people that can appreciate where we are and where we come from. I've only been here 9 years, but I joke about it once in a while with Kathy. That first year was awful as far as where our relationship was, and we earned that pretty well. And it's really remarkable where we sit today, and a lot of that credit goes to the mayor's office, the vision of, at the time for me, Mayor Dean, and then through Mayor Briley today. It's really, really encouraging where we're sitting, and I really do think in my first meeting, if I would have said we were going to be talking about a 30-year extension, 10 years before the lease was up, I would have been laughed at more than I was in that first meeting, as you remember, Kathy. And so again, I just want to say thank you for all the work that you guys put into this already, what's going to happen over the next 30 days. The one thing that we'll strive to do is take some of those forms that we just took back and have better footnotes for it, so it's a little bit more self-explanatory. You can see where different revenue sources fall into the bucket, and then obviously where they come back out. But any one-on-ones that you want, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Michelle, or Kyle. The more we talk about this, the better I think we'll all appreciate where we are. And if there's anything we need to alter, maybe we can. But it is a deal that I challenge people on, saying, all right, what's wrong with it? What would you change? And I think when we met yesterday, you asked me that question, Dudley, and I said, I don't know, what would you change? And it's always nice when you have a negotiation where, of course, there's probably a handful of things we'd each want both slightly differently, but as a whole, this is a really, really good agreement that we should be proud of. I know we are. We're grateful for it. But even better than that, the legacy of this deal is going to be probably other teams and cities looking at this in the same way. Let the users pay for the facility. The busier it is, the better the facility can be, the better it is, the more it'll be used, and you go on and on and on. So the legacy of this is going to be incredible. But I'd like to bring up an old friend. I didn't know he was a friend when I first met him. I just thought he was one of those guys yelling at me. But Ralph Perry, who's been on the board a long, long time, he can probably speak to this deal better than I can. So again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for what you've done. Ralph, good luck with that.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Good to be back. You know, having sat where you sit,
Right.
I know that this is the time of the meeting where everything's been said. You just haven't heard everybody say it yet. I'm going to try not to repeat. It's not exactly Throwback Thursday, but I was thinking on my way over here how very different it is, the situation that you face and what you're considering, from what Kathy and Margaret and I were wading through about 12 years ago. That original lease, and I don't know if this was on purpose or it just wasn't thought out, but the practical effect was the busier the arena was, the more money the Predators lost. And that's what brought us to the point where the team was very nearly sold to a fellow who wanted to move to Canada. Well, that didn't happen. Mayor Dean negotiated a better agreement. The Sports Authority got behind it. And the reason that we did is that it created the right kind of incentives. The better the arena does, the better the team does, and also the better the city does. The results you've seen, I won't repeat what Sean said, but this is one of the busiest buildings, one of the best utilized buildings, one of the best managed buildings. And anybody who's been downtown over the last several years, you can see the impact, the catalytic impact that that's had for other good things for our city and its taxpayers. The agreement that we then modified in 2012 followed in that direction a few more steps. And I think this new agreement takes that one step further. In doing that, I think you set the stage for a lot more good things for the city. And, you know, one thing that in a sense, being a win-win situation, but it's also a win for you at the Sports Authority. Our former colleague, Steve North, and he and I weren't always on the same side of things. But I always chuckled when he said, the Sports Authority, we're good sports, but we really don't have a lot of authority. Well, this gives you a little bit more authority. And I think you ought to take that as a vote of confidence in the way you approach your work, the diligence you take, the oversight of all of our sports authorities, facilities, and the effort that you make to balance the needs of our professional sports franchise partners and the needs of our citizens and taxpayers. I think you've got a good framework here. You as a body are positioned to really be a bigger part, a more important part of managing the future of these facilities, and this one in particular. And I thank you for the opportunity to come back and share a couple of thoughts with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralph. It's just calming and relaxing to hear your wisdom and guidance. We have all enjoyed serving with you over the years, and clearly you miss us because you're coming back and offering your time and thoughts, and we certainly appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I believe that concludes our agenda for today.
Madam Chair, I just have one thing that I was wondering if we could put on the agenda for the next board meeting. I think it would be great if we had a board orientation. We have a lot of new members, and some kind of framework, and talk about maybe what would be helpful to have new board orientation, because I know I've talked to some members about how much is involved here, and so I would like for us to just have a discussion about that and what might be helpful and how to go about onboarding new board members. So I don't know if anybody agrees with that, but I don't
necessarily always need agreement.
Do our new board members like that
I think you have a
idea?
consensus on this end.
And, Madam Chair, it would be helpful if we were able to get materials a week in advance so we could review them. A lot of the materials we received this morning or yesterday, it's hard to digest all of it.
Understood. We will make that a business practice.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say, we try very hard to get things to you all timely and with enough, so you have a real opportunity to digest it. And so we end up, unfortunately, sometimes having to send things out in phases, and we'll get more materials and things will happen and we'll need to update it. And we understand that is not an ideal scenario. It's not for us either, because then we also have to go back and try to update things and get binders out. But we're trying real hard. And so, I mean, for all of our facilities, we appreciate the materials that you get to us, and we just want to get them to you on time.
Let me make it clear, I'm not in any way criticizing the job you're doing or your staff is doing. I know you're doing the very best you can, and I feel confident in that. I'm just saying, if you set a little earlier deadline, it's funny how people will meet it. And we just need to, we just need to get our information a little earlier.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? This has been a entertaining and helpful meeting, and thank you all for your time today. And our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 20th.
June 20th at Nissan Stadium.
At Nissan Stadium at 10:30. We will see you then, if not before. Thank you all. See no other business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. We are adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.